I spent years building my dream life after my mother sabotaged nearly every relationship I ever had. She criticized every woman I dated and always found a way to make herself the center of attention. But this time, she crossed a line I never imagined possible. She showed up to destroy my wedding, my bride, and I had planned this wedding for nearly 2 years. It was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives. We invited only our closest friends and family. Unfortunately, my mother had other plans. She wasn't upset about the wedding. She was upset that I owned the yacht. Somehow, she had convinced herself that it should belong to her, and she intended to make that demand publicly. This wasn't new behavior. Growing up, she believed nobody was ever good enough for me. Every serious relationship eventually became her personal battlefield, until most of them fell apart. When I met my future wife, everything changed. She supported my dreams and respected my boundaries. For the first time in years, I truly felt happy. I knew she was the one. Months before the wedding, my mother complained about everything: the venue, the guest list, and even my fiancée herself. Nothing was ever good enough. I should have seen the warning signs. Despite the drama, we moved forward with our plans. The yacht looked absolutely incredible. Every detail had been carefully prepared. It was perfect. Later, we discovered she had been complaining to guests before the ceremony. She claimed I had abandoned my family. According to her, the yacht should have been gifted to her years ago. Nobody knew how to respond. I politely asked her to enjoy the celebration and respect our special day. I truly hoped she would let the moment be about the wedding. Unfortunately, entitlement doesn't take holidays, especially not at weddings. Then it happened, right in the middle of our wedding ceremony. She stood up and shouted 3 unforgettable words: "Give me the boat." The entire yacht fell completely silent. The entire wedding ceremony came to a complete stop. Nobody could believe what they had just heard. My mother had interrupted our vows to demand ownership of my yacht. Even the officiant was speechless. At first, I honestly thought she was joking. Unfortunately, my mother was absolutely serious. She believed that because I was married now, I no longer needed the yacht. According to her, it should become hers immediately. She announced that she had always deserved the yacht. She claimed she sacrificed everything to raise me. Therefore, she believed my success belonged to her. The guests sat in stunned silence. Several guests later told me they initially thought this was some kind of wedding prank. Nobody expected such a bizarre demand during a wedding ceremony. The atmosphere quickly shifted from celebration to complete disbelief. It was surreal. Through all of it, my wife remained calm and supportive. She quietly reminded me that this day was about us. Her strength helped me stay composed. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. Looking back, the warning signs had been there for months. She demanded control over the guest list, decorations, and even our honeymoon plans. Nothing was ever enough. Control had always been her priority. I calmly explained that the yacht was my personal property. It wasn't family inheritance or a wedding gift. It belonged to me and would remain that way. Boundaries are important, even with family. Instead of accepting my answer, she became even more upset. She accused me of choosing my wife over my own family. Ironically, she didn't realize she was proving exactly why boundaries were necessary. The guests looked increasingly uncomfortable. Even the yacht staff were surprised by the situation. They had hosted countless weddings over the years. None of them had ever witnessed anything remotely similar. My mother was creating quite the unforgettable moment. I gave her one final opportunity to sit down and enjoy the wedding. I genuinely wanted her to remain part of our celebration. Unfortunately, she had already made her decision. She wasn't finished yet. She refused to take her seat. Instead, she began criticizing our marriage in front of everyone. Years of unresolved entitlement had finally exploded publicly. There was simply no hiding it anymore. My wife's family handled the situation with incredible grace. They quietly supported us despite the uncomfortable circumstances. Their kindness only highlighted how inappropriate my mother's behavior had become. I was grateful for their understanding. Our officiant politely paused the ceremony. Weddings are supposed to celebrate love and commitment. Unfortunately, this one had become an unexpected family drama, but we weren't going to let it ruin our day. My wife and I took a moment to breathe and regroup. We reminded ourselves why we were there. Nothing was going to take away the meaning of our wedding day. Love remained our priority. Eventually, my mother realized nobody supported her outrageous demand. Not a single guest believed she was entitled to my yacht. Reality can be difficult when entitlement goes unchecked. She was finally beginning to understand that. Once things settled down, we decided to continue the ceremony. Our guests applauded as we returned beneath the floral arch. The celebration we had planned was finally back on track. It felt wonderful to move forward. At that moment, everything else faded away. The only thing that mattered was marrying the woman I love. Nothing could change that. It became the happiest moment of my life. The reception turned out even better than we had imagined. Friends and family rallied around us with love and support. Their kindness transformed an awkward moment into a beautiful memory. We couldn't have been more grateful. Looking back now, I realize my mother's outburst taught me something important. Setting healthy boundaries isn't selfish. Sometimes it's absolutely necessary, especially when protecting your peace and happiness. In the end, she didn't get my yacht. What I gained instead was something far more valuable, a wonderful marriage and a peaceful future. Some things simply aren't for sale or negotiation, especially love, respect, and healthy boundaries.